Hello and welcome to the Abyss. Hello and welcome to Into the Abyss with your ghost host Trent Clarno and special guest Stephen Erkintalo. Please welcome his special guest, and we will start. All right, so it turns out Stephen actually used to live in. It actually lives in the same area that I used to live in, and he's gone to the jail that the team that I started out and originally in a couple what was it, like 5-6 years ago that I started. And I thought it was really cool because I started investigating with the old Gilchrist County Jail ghost hunters, and he actually knows Arlene, which is the lead. I didn't know this, so when I asked him to be on my show, I was like blown away because I obviously had no clue. So recently, Stephen apparently did something with the Ouija board, and I'll let him tell you guys the story because I want him to tell you the story and the background and the reasoning as to it. It's a little controversial, I do give you that, but you know what? It is actually interesting if you open your mind about it. So, mic's open to you.
So we're going to talk about the Ouija board?
Yeah.
Okay. What I do with the Ouija board?
Yeah.
Okay, basically, yeah. Basically, I kind of just like, all investigators, all they do, they kind of just investigate the same way. They go in, they ask for the knocks, they ask for let me get an key, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. Right? Not knocking anybody on it. That's just, it's like what I like to do is bring a Ouija board into the investigation to not really kind of like debunk the fact that they're not true, like they don't hold so much evil or whatever the case may be that people say. But kind of just see if they do see if when you do use one, if it will sync up to evidence that you capture later on. And so far, every time I use one, at every investigation that we do, it is. We open it up. It's the first thing that we do, and we see if anything happens. And then when we don't really capture too much stuff, then I'll go over there, and then that's when I'll cut myself and then drip it on the Ouija board and kind of sacrifice part of me to whatever darker entity is represented with the board. And usually after that, a lot of things start happening. And that's really it. I caught a shadow figure up in Indiana within 10 minutes of walking in the building. That's never been documented before up there in that location. And there's been hundreds of investigations there. That's really it. The Ouija board, just open it up, never close the session, never stage myself, never cleanse myself. And I think that has a lot to do with capturing the evidence that is continuously being captured whenever we go investigate. Because when doing so, like a lot of people they'll go to an investigation, and I've actually had people do this before. They'll go to an investigation, and then they wonder why they never captured anything. And yet you ask them, well, did you cleanse yourself? Did you pray? What did you do beforehand? They'll say they did that. They protected themselves. Well, if you protect yourself, that's why you didn't capture anything. It's like taking Advil to get rid of a headache. That's what it's intended to do. It's going to get rid of your headache, your aches and pains. So if you do that and you take something to have something not happen, what do you think's going to happen? So, you can't be upset that you didn't capture anything. And I think that's why every investigation that I've been doing, it keeps amping more and more and more and more because of not protecting myself and not cleansing myself.
So let me ask you this: Do you think you have an attachment of multiple spirits or anything like that?
I've been told that I do. The most that I've ever been told is when, I'd say it's like a couple months ago when I was on a radio show, doing the radio show that I do, and Darby was actually with me on that one. And people were all in chat saying that they could actually, the mediums and everybody were in chat saying that they actually could sense and see darker entities around me, but they couldn't get near me because of me actually. And this was, I never even went public about me cutting myself over a Ouija board at this time. Never. I never, because people really get crazy over that when you talk about doing that. So I don't really talk about it too much until recently. This is probably the first time I think I've expressed it more before what I just said on your show. But so the mediums were saying that it's because I gave myself to the darker side and I gave myself to the devil, and they're waiting for me because I owe them myself. And I thought that was really creepy because nobody knows what I did. And there was one time when we were at an investigation in Ocala, I actually did a demonic chant, and I actually asked for Zozo to come in, and I read a script saying that he's my God, come to me, and really got into some.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I mean, I would say I do. I mean, I think the depression, and I think a lot of the suicide attempts and a lot of the other things, I think they had to do with that. I think everybody has them. When you start going out of your character, I think when you step out of your character in your mind, I think that's when you start realizing you may have something with you. Because if you're acting like you normally don't act, or you're thinking thoughts that you normally don't think, and you've been investigating the way that people that you investigate, and things like that, I do believe that's part of a spiritual attachment.
I would believe that when you open yourself up way too much, but there is a certain degree that people can open themselves up and then learn how to block it off, learn how to not go any further, because if you go much further than you should, you will have attachments, you will have things that will happen that will be negative. But if you do the, what do they call it, grounding, that's what it is, grounding. When you do your spiritual grounding, when you know how to spiritually ground yourself, you can do a lot of these things without a lot of repercussions. That's one of the most definite things. If you do not, I want to emphasize this, do not do anything that you do not feel comfortable doing during an investigation. For anybody that is watching now or on YouTube when this is posted, do not do anything that you don't feel comfortable about doing, because if you don't feel comfortable about doing it, something bad will happen. It's that negative thought process that causes it to happen. If you go in there with positivity and not really thinking that you're going to get anything, well, you got more of a chance then than you got thinking that you're going to get something on video, for sure. So let me ask you this. So what's the most interesting thing that has happened during one of these sessions?
Well, I do want to say firstly, I do agree with the what you just said about, what did you say? Oh yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, then don't do it. That's just obviously the best way to protect yourself. If you don't want to protect yourself, that's fine. But the thing is, that's the best way to protect yourself. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. Then you just ultimately protect yourself. I'll explain attachments in a second. I guess we'll talk about attachments in a second. Someone in chat said that. I like that I could see chat over here without being distracted. But yeah, if you don't feel comfortable, don't doing it. I'd say the worst thing that's happened to me, man, I've had a lot of crazy things actually happen to me. I've been burned right here on my forearm, those 3 blisters that actually formed on my arm while just sitting around. That was before I even started doing the Ouija board. I've had, like I said, the depression, the wanting to kill myself, I've seen shadows in my own house walking. The house that I lived in before I moved up here to Bronson, the people I was living with, they never had any type of incidents happen until I moved in. And when I moved in, they were freaked out because they were seeing these shadow figures, and they non-believers to the fullest. So they were kind of freaked out, and then that's when we all started seeing it. And I don't think anything scary has ever happened to me, but I do feel like since I've been doing this a lot more, yeah, none of that was scary. But I think when you open yourself up more to the paranormal like this, I think part of you becomes a little bit more of a medium, and your abilities kind of open up a little bit more because you're more in tune with what's happening. And the more I've been doing this, the more I can sense when things are behind me. I can sense when I feel like something's over in like the corner of my house or someone else's house, and you kind of can stare over there. When you stare over there, it's weird because like an image will come to you of what you kind of see. And you could say, people could say, oh, well, that's just your mind doing it. But what's crazy is the second you look, an image starts appearing in your head. And that can creep you out. I think that's the scariest, is the fact that the more I've been doing this, the more it's been opening me up to a lot of
definitely
that I don't understand. The paranormal, I don't understand anything. Nobody understands the paranormal. That's why it's the paranormal. But I think the mental effect has gotten a lot to me, and it's going to get worse too. Like there's a lot of things that me and Darby have been talking about, and I don't want to address it on here yet, but it's gonna get a lot worse.
Yeah, things always get a lot worse before they get better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's and talk about define attachments at healing NRGS. I would say attachments. I think it varies for everybody what an attachment kind of is. But the only way I can describe the attachments that I was discussing were the way I was investigating. The way I was investigating was, I was asking for these darker entities to come. So I think that's why I got a lot of the negative repercussions with it, with the suicides, with the negative thoughts, with the wanting to just isolate myself a lot more, and wanting to just lock myself out from the world, and I think really ultimately I think that's kind of the attachments that I personally can say that I've experienced, only because of the way I investigate.
Yeah, I'd consider.
And I think if you see a shadow,
I'd consider your way of investigating a little unorthodox, but it's a different method. It's a different type of investigating, so it's not really far out there. I've heard much worse and much more different things. There was a story that I read that apparently there were some ghost hunters that believed in Satanism, and they sacrificed a goat, and they got good results in a way, and it was weird. I don't know if that was true or not, but if it is, then be a little out there, but it's not as bad as you cutting yourself, dripping your own blood, type thing.
Yeah, and for everybody that's watching, is I don't slice my wrist open here. All I do is I cut my finger and I just drip on my finger and drip the blood, rub it around, and that's really about all I do. I don't and just drain blood everywhere. It's just my finger.
Yeah. So, what happened when you were younger that attributed towards your interest in the paranormal?
I don't know. When I was younger, I guess. I was just younger. I used to get teased a lot in school, so I guess I just kind of isolated myself. And I would say I was a little bit under a teenager, maybe 12, something like that. And so I would isolate myself. My upbringing wasn't the best. I lived with alcoholic parents, and so that wasn't that great. So that helped me want to isolate myself more, and I would create imaginary friends. I think at a young age, we all kind of just talked to something that really wasn't there. And then I would start answering the imaginary friend in my own head. So by doing so, I think that kind of opened something up a little bit. And one day I decided to actually get a voice recorder, and I don't even know why I wanted one. No idea what I was doing or even listening for, but I think that really, me creating this imaginary thing in my head and talking to something that wasn't there and pretending it's talking back and saying, you know, if you are there, why don't you just come through and, you know, just talk to me. I just want, you know, just saying weird things like that. I think that really opened something up. And then it got really bad, you know, when I started seeing shadows. I actually got like about 106-degree temperature, and I ended up dying on a deathbed, basically. And I got rushed to the emergency room to the hospital, and I remember being in like this trance state, and I was walking back and forth in my kitchen for about 3 hours. I don't remember it. My mom told me about it. So there's a lot of weird things that were happening when I growing up, you know, and I think a lot of that had to do with speaking to something that wasn't there and creating it. I created something.
What's like the most craziest, like the most profound experience you've ever had happen that was like blew you back in the water and made you go, holy shit?
I would say that, man, I don't know. I've had so many. Honestly, I would say it wasn't even that. This one's not even that scary, huh? Oh yeah. I was in a cemetery actually in Bonita Springs, Florida. What I was gonna say, the first thing, I'll go back to that. What I was gonna say was the first time I actually heard a spirit with my own ears. The first time I went to Casadega, Florida, and 2 years ago, and started out and heard hello with my own ears from a little girl. Nobody around. I think that right there made me say, okay, I really want to do this. But the most profound one is I was in the cemetery, and I know a lot of people will say, you know, spirits don't roam in cemeteries, blah, 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 blah. But if you have attachments, they're going to roam with you wherever you go. You know, you can make something haunted. And what I think is, I was sitting there and I did the Ouija board. Now, there's 3 rules to a Ouija board, 3 main rules to a Ouija board. Don't use it alone. Don't always say goodbye. And never take your hand off that plastic piece. And don't, you know, obviously drain blood on it. And
don't do what Stephen does. Don't do what he does.
Yes.
He's a professional blood dripper on Ouija boards.
Yeah. And so what I did is, I used one in the Ouija. I used one in the cemetery. I used one by myself. I took my hand off of it, and I drained blood on it all in the cemetery. And what I saw was, if you could try to vision this, I'm in the middle of the cemetery. My truck was in front of me, probably about 50 feet. What I saw was a black shadow. My camera died right away, and I freaked out a little bit about that because I started feeling something. I was feeling something really weird happening, and I got blank. And on video, my recorder, you can actually hear me. I'm like starting to stumble. I'm very confused. You know, I have no idea what I'm really talking about. And I look up, and I saw a figure, a black, just solid figure, walking towards me, but towards the truck. And it was so weird. It wasn't. It was like it was like stumbling. Like, I don't know. It was very weird. And when it got to the truck, it went on the other side of the truck and disappeared. So I was terrified to even go near the truck. And so I actually went to call Darby because I wanted someone to talk to as I walked to the vehicle. My phone did a factory reset on its own. I couldn't go anywhere. I had to wait for the phone to re-download everything and re-get up on Facebook. I had no service. Everything started going crazy. And I had nothing. So, like, I had no idea what to do. So I just said, fuck it. I had to grab my stuff, and I went to I got to the truck, and I just left, and I went over to a CVS. And when I got out of the cemetery, my phone worked perfectly fine. Everything came back on. And I would say that was probably the scariest thing because everything went crazy. I had no communication to anything, and I felt frozen. I felt my mind went blank, and I know what I saw.
Wow. That's sort of similar, almost similar to one of my experiences, but not as intense. I experienced, I do, apparently when I investigate, every now and then I black out. And it's me getting
that's cool.
Really heavy communication with a certain spirit. And I will pick up on energies and stuff like that. But during one of them, during one of my blackout moments. I wasn't even investigating at this time. I was actually over at my ex's house. And apparently, I blacked out and basically went from one end of the house to the other. And she told me I was talking to somebody. And she didn't really know who I was talking to because I was mumbling. So, and I don't even remember it. It was like a mind wipe. But now I meditated over it a few months ago, trying to remember. And apparently I was talking to one of her dead relatives, apparently. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to stick on that with my word. That's what I thought it was at the time. But I think it was more of one of my quote-unquote following spirits. Not an attachment, just follows me. And just goes where I go. Because my family has has quite a few follower spirits. And it's interesting because my blackouts, the more profound ones I will remember, the less ones I don't remember, which is strange in a way. But I know what you're talking about when you're seeing like a black mass next to your car or something. I've experienced that. I've experienced whispering in my ear. I used to be a ghost tour guide down at Old Town. And the funny thing happened.
That's where we're at right now.
Funny thing that happened is that I got my jacket pulled and whispered into my ear at the old church that's down there. And it was really cool and creepy. But that's one of the more profound experiences that have, other than getting my name called out on a EVP, that's, common. So what do you think about like crystals? Do you believe in the power of the crystals and stuff like that?
Honestly, have no idea about crystals. I really don't. I don't know much of anything about them. I've never really used them, but I know a lot of people do. Actually, like, they'll bring them to investigations. But I honestly couldn't tell you what any of them are for. I know my grandma has one in her house, a really big one. And I looked into it to see what it was about, and it was about, it was just like health and everything like that, kind of keep you safe with health, which that failed since my grandpa died from cancer. So I don't know how well that worked.
Let's see. There was something else I wanted to hit while we were talking about the whole stones. Haunted objects. Do you believe that dolls and mirrors and so on and so forth can be used as portals or attachments for spirits?
I kind of do. I think they can be because it's okay. Yeah, I think they can be because think about the vessel that we're in right now, the skin we're in right now, right? Our spirit is inside of that skin, right? That's it. When we leave, we're no longer a vessel, but our spirit is floating around. So our skin, our bones, our DNA, everything about that is an attachment of our spirit. Our spirit attached to this body that we're in right now. So why wouldn't it be able to attach to a brick or a twig or a cup or something that is meaningful to that spirit? Right now, our skin, the body you're in right now, the body Darby's in, the body I'm in, the body everybody in chat is in right now, is a form of possession by the spirit that is in us. It's attached to us. So I do believe that they can attach themselves to bricks and anything because every object has some type of, I wouldn't say organism because that's a living thing, but it has some type of structure, some type of strand that makes it an energy source. For this cup right here, this cup is sitting up because of some of that's it. Proton and neutrons. Everything is made up of something, and protons and neutrons have energy. So as long as something has energy and is functional, you can grab it. Then I think something can attach itself to it. Are we
You
frozen?
were. But that is actually an
Yes.
extremely fascinating theory. I like
So
that how you said that we're basically a possessed object ourselves. That's actually an interesting theory. That's one that I haven't heard myself.
Yeah, I haven't either, because
Oh wow.
that shit just came to me actually just now. To be honest with you, when you
So
asked that,
you got to write that down before you forget that.
It
That's
actually sounded
awesome.
pretty
I
good.
love that. That theory could stick at some point, or to a certain extent.
So it actually makes sense. I mean, if you really kind of think about it, we could talk about it for hours, but it does make sense, because when you see a dead body, it's laying inside of a coffin. It has no, it's not being used anymore by a spiritual energy. The only reason I'm able to move right now is because of the spirit that's within me right now, allowing everything, the electromagnetic energy that a spirit has, right, is inside of my body, inside of your body. All of the brain waves that we have sit outside of our brain are like telephone wires, right? They're all streaming out to here to make me move my fingers, to blink, to talk. Telephone inside of a thick black telephone wire is the same thing as what our brain is, right? It's shooting electromagnetic energy in all sorts of different ways. There's hundreds of wires in there, just like of our brain. So the outside of an electrical cord outside is the vessel. We're the vessel. The energy is inside of those electromagnetic fucking frequency things, and the spirit's inside that. So we're the spirit. I mean, you know what I'm saying. I was reading
That's
chat,
extremely interesting.
so I lost my concentration.
Like, just amazing idea right there. Auras are another thing that are interesting too. I do have to agree with Sammy in the chat that the auras that some people give off can be bright and vibrant, or dark and just depressing sometimes too. But I think auras are actually our energy from our spirit, not our body.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's kind of like the vibe you get whenever you go to a party or something, and you don't sync well with somebody. That vibe that they're giving off is their aura. You're not feeling it. Maybe you know why, maybe you don't know why, but that's the same thing. Their aura is just giving you a very bad vibe. So, yeah, I agree. And I think the aura that we have, I think it attracts certain spirits. If you go into a situation, a haunted location, and you take that, it's like you said earlier, you go with the negative mindset, you're going to attract negativity. You go with the positive mindset, you're going to attract positivity. Depends on what you want to catch. Depends on that vibe and that aura you want to give off at that given moment.
Yeah, it's just like living throughout the day. You got to sit there, and if you wake up negative and you're just negative in general, you're gonna have a bad day. If you wake up positive and not let anything affect you throughout the day, you're gonna have a great day. It applies to that same mythology all around. Paranormal investigating is what people don't understand on our end, and I know that there's a lot of paranormal investigators in the chat right now, is that the people, the public, unfortunately, the movies, the TV shows, they've made us sort of downfall. It has, and I posted this about a week ago. I did make the comment. I said the TVs and movies have ruined us, and they've also provided a gain. As to the gain, it's provided more interest from the public. It's provided more attention. The negativity that it's brought is that it makes us look like fools, especially the found footage ones. And
yeah, the law of attraction.
Exactly.
RNGS. Sorry. Yeah. And I agree. Holly, I come on froze. Okay, the only thing that these shows have done, like Ghost Adventures and the Tennessee Rat Chasers and all these other fools, the only thing they've done that's good is bring the paranormal to the forefront for other people to say, okay, this is an okay thing. You can do this. But that's the only thing they get that good. They don't ever educate. There's not one episode where any of these guys educate the field. But what I just said about this whole your spirit, maybe about the spirit possessing this body that we're in right now. So of course, in possessing, you're not going to hear Ghost Adventures. You're not going to hear any of these whack job TV shows talk about that because they don't think like that. They're puppets on a string, and they don't have that type of common sense. So
exactly.
And so, I mean, like I said, the only good thing that they've actually done was allow this to happen. The radio shows, it's made it more of a trend. It's a trend. Paranormal investigating is a trend. And it's a scary trend because then you get ignorant people out there who want to just go investigate that hurt this field, that go into these houses or go into these locations, and they make a fool of themselves. And then locations no longer want to allow paranormal investigating because they let some amateur group go in there and perform bad or do whatever the case it is, or steal stuff or whatever whatever they may do. So then it ruins it for everybody else who is actually serious about the trade.
Exactly. And then you also have clients, quote unquote clients, let's just put it that way, that will call you. This is a new thing that I've encountered, especially out here in New Mexico. There's one couple up north in northwestern Farmington. In order to get a paranormal investigative team, we ask certain questions, and these certain questions, if they send up the red flags, we are like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? So we try and get some legitimate answers from these people. This couple that I'm talking about basically was playing with Ouija boards, doing seances, and also had their local priest involved. And apparently, they wanted their 15 seconds of fame on TV. Well, they didn't realize that when they called me and every other team in the state, that by the time they called me, everybody else already knew. And they were faking evidence. They were also making it so that way this entity, quote unquote, could come to their house via Ouija board, seances, so on and so forth. And this is, I've encountered several cases like this where it was just they were faking it, or they caused it upon themselves for 15 seconds of fame. And it's just really sad because there are people that are out there, and it applies to the groups. The groups are doing the same thing. They're doing these extremely risky things to try and get them noticed by the what do you want to call it, the executives, the TV executives and stuff like that. They try and bring in the attention to them, but then they don't go through the proper channels. There's red flags, so on and so forth. Grave Concerns Paranormal, several other groups that I know, we do the right thing. We know how to do the stuff that we do. We've been in this field long enough where we're not going to try and let these people that continue to pull the field down. We're actually going to try and continue to lift the field back up.
And I agree. Like, I'll go on.
That is my goal.
Yeah, I go on. I think every radio show that I go on, even my own, I talk shit at least once about somebody or some team or something, because that's all I do. Even on social media, a lot of times I love to address them, because a lot of people say there's no para-unity in the field, and the only way to have para-unity back again is to ignore the bad or build the para-unity. And but I mean, I think that's horseshit, because if the way I see it is, if you don't address the bad, nobody's going to know that. You're going to ignore it as it fuels. That's like, you got a fire. Are you going to ignore the fire, or are you going to try to put that fire out? If you ignore it, it's going to spread.
Exactly.
That's it. You got to put it out. And everybody wants to ignore it and then call the people that address it like me an asshole, and I'm negative and I'm this and this. And it's, it's the same situation as your car. Your car's broke, right? You need to go get your check engine light comes on. If you ignore it, what's going to happen? It's going to get worse. You have to go get
We
that
used to
stuff
have
fixed.
para-unity in the field, but it's gone.
It's
gone.
Been
gone for a while.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's favoritism. Like, I was involved in this group thing in Tennessee to hunt with Deep South Paranormal and Ghost Hunters International, and go with them to do this Fayetteville location in Tennessee. And for some reason, they kicked me out of the group. And now none of them even follow me or do anything. Yet they used to before we even did the group. So it's all favoritism. It's, what can you do for me? Oh, you can do this for me? Okay, I'm going to like you, and I'm going to do everything that I can because I like you. It's favoritism. Or so-and-so sleeping with somebody, so it's favoritism. It's like we're back in high school.
Yeah, everybody's in each other's bed or something like that. It's really... It's not how para-unity needs to be. We all need to be connected. We all need to have each other's backs. If I have a case, let's first say if I get called from Florida, you're the first person I'd probably shoot a phone call to and say, hey, do you want to go to this? And that's how I roll. That's how I roll with my investigations. If I get a call from Arizona and I try and get a hold of an Arizona team, I try not to do as much travel, but I try and give other teams the opportunity to go to these other places. I think that applies to having each other's backs and stuff. If we need help, we need help. If I require you to come out here for, let's first say a Ouija board case, then I would have you come out here and express your expertise during the case. And, that's how I would do that. I don't sit here and try to make it a non-existent thing. I try to become buddy-buddy with as many groups as I possibly can. Now, some groups are too stubborn and they believe in orbs. I can't do orbs. I can't argue with somebody that believes in orbs. I can't.
See, the only thing that I caught orb-wise is when, to bring science, I guess, into the matter for people that like K2 meters, for the electromagnetic energy, it hits it and it goes off. I was laying there with the Ouija board on my chest, and I was in a cross formation. I had the K2 there, and this orb, or light anomaly, whatever you want to call it, was blinking, slowly blinking, stopped, went right near the K2, and the K2 meter went off. So it wasn't a bug. It wasn't a fly. Well, nothing can prove this whole field. GCP or whatever he's talking about. Science can't prove paranormal. Period. It can't prove orbs. It can't prove anything. Nothing about this field.
Not yet.
Is factual.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. But nothing about this field is factual. It's all an opinionated field. I mean, that's it. And it's like I've said before. Stopping at a red light is
field.
Yeah, going at a green light is factual, and stopping at a red light is factual. We all know that that's a fact. You have to do it. There's absolutely nothing in this field that's fact. I could say I saw a shadow figure, and somebody else can say it wasn't a shadow, it was this. Boom, just makes it not factual. If it was factual, everybody in the world would agree that the paranormal exists.
Exactly. And technically in the past 2 decades, we've made lots of advances in the paranormal. We've made lots of devices, lots of new findings, but we're still not to the simple fact that we are a science yet.
That's it, yeah, and we're not, and I think a lot of it is because
we're close, I think, but we're not there yet. So.
Yeah, and that's it's already just said it. People fake evidence, and they go on YouTube and they fake all this stuff and use digital editing, and it ruins it for everybody. And that's a big problem that we have, and it's just. There's so much wrong with this field, and people just don't see it, and they really think ignoring it is the problem, and ignoring it is just building it. It's just growing more negative underneath our feet than we even know. I think that's really it, and it's the scammers that are the ones in the forefront of this field. They're the ones that are getting the attention and getting the recognition, because people don't
exactly
understand how to. Yeah, because the people that are real in this field are told that they're assholes, or they don't want to be heard by the masses of people, because it's easier for people to understand simple-minded things than actually being educated. That's why you see Ghost Adventures and all these other people at the top of this game, because they're so easy to do. It's so easy to go into a room and say, I just captured an EVP. Let me put the little words above the screen. I don't care what you heard. You have to believe me because I just put the word. Yeah, and if you listen to it 5 times over and over, you're going to hear that because you just read it. So your mind subconsciously just read what it says. Obviously,
yeah, it's one of the sad things about watching those TV shows is that they sit there and they don't ask you what do you hear, and then they tell you what they think they hear. They tell you what they think you hear, and then they leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because then your mind automatically thinks. But you know what? Even though I watch Ghost Adventures, even though I watch Ghost Hunters and so on and so forth, when they do those reveals and stuff, I don't hear what they say. Actually, when they do the reveals and stuff, I actually close my eyes and completely ignore what they're trying to say and just listen to only the EVP.
You can't hear.
Exactly.
What you hear nothing. You hear nothing whatsoever, and then you read it, and it's
there
like
was one time I could have sworn that they said that it was like "go to hell," and it actually sounded like a fart to me.
Yeah, there's so many.
This is Zach. He's like,
out of there. I just with chat
this
right
is
now.
What you hear in the EVP, and then he goes, "I hear fuck off."
Yeah. Yeah, or it's the devil, or demon, or get out, or kill Zach, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I know it's for entertainment purposes, and they probably do it because the TV executives and stuff like that. But come on, let's put some realism into this, because most of the stuff that they do isn't how an investigation actually goes down.
It's not at all, and no, not one bit. So I real quick with chat, I do think a lot of the people with the feminine force is talking in chat with GCP. I do have to agree with the fourth because everybody can be a skeptic. If there's not a camera on every single angle of the room, you're gonna get somebody's gonna be like, there could have been somebody else in the room with you. There could have been this. There's always gonna be skeptics in this field. And everything's easy to get debunked. Thermal cameras are easy to get debunked. They've been debunked on Ghost Hunters. They've been debunked. Shadow figures have been debunked. EVPs have actually been debunked too, because people will claim that they hear it, and then if you actually do the research at a location, you'll find out that there's a park outside. The walls are thin, the window is cracked, anything can get in. You figure out what time this team was there. Oh wait, there was kids at the park then. There's so many different things that can easily be debunked within this field. Matter of fact, I could probably debunk every bit of I can't debunk my evidence, actually. I've tried. I know I can't. I've tried it. I just...
Yeah. That's true. There's some evidence that I've caught that I physically have tried to come up with some logical reason, and I get nothing, and I can't figure it out. I've caught one orb. I will admit, I will be the first person to admit from my team that I caught an orb without a doubt. It was clear as day. There was nothing that could bounce off. It wasn't a dust. It was glowing its own energy, and it was just really, really interesting.
You said you don't believe in orbs, though, so what happened for you to say that it was an orb?
Because it was literally giving off its own light.
So you believe in them, you just think that they're super rare to actually capture and document.
Yeah, I to a certain extent, I don't really disbelieve and I don't really believe. I'm sort of in the middle, because I've never really truly experienced an orb, but there was an orb that I experienced at the St. James Hotel up in Cimarron, and I took several pictures. I tried to debunk it. I stood in the same place and took 20 photos. Could not replicate that orb, no matter how many times I tried. I even had people like shuffling in there and trying to stir up the dust and stuff, and I got absolutely nothing. Even with trying to get the dust, I could not replicate any orbs whatsoever. It was just that one orb, and it was as bright as bright as an LED.
yeah, they glow, and a lot of people will say, oh, orbs are dust, orbs are this. Dust never travels singly. You pick up dust, it's so freaking tiny, you can't even see it with your own eyes. The only reason you see dust is because it's so many microscopics accumulated into something so large. If you think you can just throw one little piece of dust in the air and take a photo of it, try it. You won't. You'll see, and it's glowing and giving off its own light and moving in a flight pattern. I actually captured this on film, and it's going to be shown on a Roku station here soon. It was actually traveling, and you see it break off into two and keep going, and then blinking, giving its own light source. I've never seen an orb break off into two before, ever, on film. So, I mean, and I think, to say an orb, if you kind of look at it, right, it almost looks like cells. It looks just like a cell. And what are we made up of? We're made up of cells. That's all we're made up of. Blood cells, guts, but we're made up of cells. That's ultimately kind of what made white blood cells, red blood cells, blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like a stage, right after you see an orb, you can start feeling something. And then you see the next stage.
It's that mindset. Just because you have that one little experience, it's like, oh my God, I'm experiencing something.
Yeah. And then it's just, I don't know. I mean, orbs are probably one of the most controversial things in this.
Exactly. Orbs is like trying to talk to an extremely religious person about different religions.
It is, yeah.
They're not going to sit here and agree with you, and they're not going to disagree with you. So they're just going to, but they're going to get pissed.
That's it. Yeah.
That's just ridiculous because honestly, when you capture, let's first say you take a picture of a basement, a dirt floor, and there's about that much of a layer of dust. And you capture like thousands of snow globes. Okay. Orbs. No. I hate when people try and convince me that they've captured. I don't hate it, but I just dislike it because then they try and argue and they get into this like form thought where they're just trying to argue with you, and they're like, yes, it's a spirit. Come here, come to my house. I said, I need more definitive evidence. I need EVPs. I need pictures or something more other than just a bunch of orbs. There was a business here in Albuquerque that wanted me to come and wanted my team to come. I told him, send me everything you got. He did. And apparently all I saw was orbs. Everything was orbs. Everything. So I tried to tell him. I said, listen, this is the deal. I don't see anything that's alarming. I don't see anything that I don't see anything as an investigator. I've been doing this for 7 years in October. I don't see it. I don't, so, and then he got pissed off at me because he's like, I know what I experienced. And I'm like, okay, listen, I will have an investigator come out, interview you, so on and so forth, get copies of the video, and we'll figure it out from there. So I watched the videos and all this, and I was just like, listen, I can't do it. My team, we can't do it because, we're not seeing enough enough evidence that is being handed to us to say that you're having an issue.
Yeah.
And it's sad because some people might have an issue, but because of the TV shows and some of the radio shows that are out there, they actually only focus on orbs. There's some of them that are out there that just like Ghost Adventures. If I remember correctly, back like when they first started and stuff, they were capturing pictures of orbs, and they're like, "Oh, this is evidence," and so on and so forth.
That's all they ever thought.
So it's just ridiculous because orbs is like an extremely controversial, and I know chat is like lighting up like a fire right now, and I like that. I like a conversation about one different topic. It causes conversation between people because
we could talk about. I caused some controversy on my page the other day. Was talking about crossing spirits over.
Oh yeah.
That really, yeah, that really got people going on there with crossing people over, on how people think that they could just walk into a room and all of a sudden just tell a spirit, go to the light. And then they're automatically sent to a light. Like they're sent to a light that they can't ever see, and they have no idea, one, where the spirit's actually going. So you really can't tell somebody. I mean, I'm actually kind of drained from the whole entire thing, because I think this was yesterday that I posted it, and I just got extremely drained instantly within an hour from all the comments and the messages I was getting. But the only way I could sum it up is, I don't believe that anybody can cross anybody over. I don't think anybody can play God. And if you die and God wants you to be in heaven, you be in heaven. You know, you're here and we talk to you because
Agreed.
there's a reason why you're here, and you choose not to go. For somebody to come in and say, Spirit, go to the light and go to your maker, you're sending them to an imaginary light to go see God. Like, who are you? You're playing God. You're a human being playing God.
Exactly.
It's impossible. You don't have this.
Truthfully, my belief in crossing people over, I don't think you should do it. Yeah. I think the only people that should do it are psychics. Even then, I think it's sketchy.
Are sidekicks?
Psychics.
Oh, psychics.
Yes.
Psychic. And yeah, even then it's sketchy, because
that's what I'm saying. Even then it's really sketchy. It's not really definitive. It's nothing, you can't prove that you actually crossed a spirit over.
You really can't.
I think it's as controversial as orbs. That's why I don't really talk about both
it's like
topics a lot.
All this other stuff. You know, a lot of these psychics will be like, well, I hold their hand and walk them to the light. Oh, you just grab a spirit's hand and you walk them to the light? Like, if I hold my girlfriend and I grab her and I go on a date with her and I say, all right, baby, good night, let me walk you to your car. Walk her to her car, I put her in her car. I know where she's at. I put her in her car, I close the door. I know she's safe in her car. If I tuck my girlfriend in bed, I tuck them in bed. I know they're safe. I know I've been there. Nobody knows where they're putting this spirit that they claim to be sending off to God. You don't know where you're sending them. You just don't. That's just like orbs. It's just like the paranormal. You don't know what you're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing in this field. They really don't. You
Exactly.
don't know. You don't. Like, you could walk into an event. You could have 40 years experience, 20 years experience, 2 years experience. I've captured things that people in 40 years have never captured in this field. Do I say it's because of me? No. Is it luck? Maybe. You have no idea what nobody's doing. You go into a location. What's your name, spirit? What are you doing here? You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're just trying to get answers so then you can
theoretically speaking, what you're doing with a voice recorder is the same as doing a Ouija board.
That's all it is. It's the same exact
theoretically
concept that you're using.
It is the same concept. It is what you're still doing. You're still opening a communication portal. It's not a physical portal. That's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that and there are some paranormal teams that don't understand that either. When that's another argument. They'll sit there and say that EVPs are doing an EVP session is nothing like doing a Ouija board session or a seance.
Why is GCP getting so upset that he's leaving? Because he agrees with them, so he's got to leave. Anyways. Here's the thing. I do agree. I do agree that you can't say that you're going to use a spirit box, a digital voice recorder. They're all the same. Spirits are energy, right? What are you using with these tools? You're using batteries. They're energy. Of course, it's the same exact thing. You're opening up a Ouija board. Is a Ouija board. It's a piece of plastic. It's cardboard. It's plastic. It's a trademark. It's sold in stores. Yes, this
exactly.
Stuff is sold in stores too, but so you have a better chance of a spirit attaching to a spirit box or a digital voice recorder, because say you're a spirit, Trent, you're not there. I say, what's your name? You haven't heard your own voice in fucking God knows how long, right? All of a sudden you say Trent. I play it back doing an EVP burst. You hear your own voice. Right then and there, I start communicating with you again. That intrigues you. So you're going to think, again, this is a theory. All I have are theories. Not a lot of people have them. Maybe the theory is, you heard me speak to you on this digital voice recorder. You're going to attach yourself to this digital voice recorder because you heard me speak to you on it. We had communication on it. So attach yourself to it. Then therefore you're like, next time he uses it, he's going to be able to hear me and talk to me on it. You know what I mean? To me, that makes more sense than evil coming through a Ouija board. You know, every time you open up one of these things, you're bringing evil or whatever it is. And it's almost like people are like, well, you're bringing evil here. You don't know what you're doing. Well, you know what? You don't know what you're doing if you open up your door and you say free stuff, and you leave. You don't know who's coming in your door to grab free stuff.
Exactly. You could have anything and everything there, right? When you open that communication portal.
But anybody. Yes. And you could even be sitting in your house, open up your front door, say, I have free stuff.
Exactly. That's what you're doing.
You can at least see the people coming in. Yeah. And when you're doing it with the spirit world, you can't see if it's good or bad coming in. You don't know. You're taking a risk every time. Now, here's another thing. If you're going to protect yourself while doing these investigations, what are you protecting yourself from? Good, bad? It really doesn't matter. Now, you know why it doesn't matter? Because if a rapist came to your door because you said free stuff, and you go and pray to your God, don't rape me, don't do this, whatever the case may be, you think that rapist cares? No, the rapist is on a mission to rape. He's on a mission to kill. He's going to do what he's going to do, whether you pray to your God or whether you beg him not to come in or do it. The only difference is you're going to physically feel it, you're going to see it, and that's all there is to it. Like the spirit world, you can't stop something from coming through once you open up that doorway. I mean, I don't believe you can. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely interesting because, I mean, the stuff that you're saying is the stuff that I've always thought is true to a certain degree, but, you know, it's just how I've based it off of my investigating. My investigating is, yes, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, and I'm definitely not afraid to go into the spots that people won't go into. You know, I'm the daredevil of my group. I'm the leader of my group. I try and I want to be a leader to future generations too in the process. But I want to show them and I want to tell them that, you know, the thing is that you can't sit here and continue to push your body, push your spirit, because there is a certain degree where you've got to step back and you've got to realize that what you're doing needs to be toned down to a degree. Now, I'm not saying that about you. I'm just saying when you're investigating in general, per se, let's per se, investigating a hospital, right? And there's a basement that the rest of your team feels uncomfortable, but you feel uncomfortable, but you feel like you can go tackle whatever's down there.
And that's exactly, you know, the force. I agree. That's exactly it. Like if Darby back here tried to punch me in the head, I could stop her from punching me in the head. I could see it. I could physically grab her hand and stop it. I could stop a murder from I could attempt to stop this thing and escort them out. A spirit, I can't see where it's coming. You don't know where it's coming from, and you just have no idea. You just can't stop a spirit. You have nobody in this world has control.
No, we don't. We can't tell them what to do. We can't do what they want, and that's what makes investigating really fascinating. Is because people think that we can continuously get results at a place, but here's the thing: you can go to a place your first time and not get jack shit. But you go there your second time and you get 100 EVPs, you get 2 really good photos, you get all sorts of evidence. Then you go back your third time and you only get maybe a quarter of the stuff that you got the second time. Or maybe you get nothing again. But that's what makes paranormal investigating fascinating.
It does, and that just shows that we have no control over when they're going to speak to us, when they're not going to speak to us. You know, I think a lot of that has to do with, you just don't know. Nobody knows anything about this field. It's all theories. You know, it's theory based, and that's it. And people are going to agree with you or disagree with you. But the thing is, as long as you stand behind your theories and stand behind what you stand for in this field, people are going to see that, and they're going to, I wouldn't necessarily say agree, but they're going to respect you. And that's really all this field ultimately comes down to, is do people respect you enough to want to hear what you have to say and to follow you? Because in the end, none of us are better than anybody. This whole field's stupid.
It's true.
It really is.
There
I've
are a
wanted to
lot
quit
of
so many times
that don't know what they're doing. You have, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty of all of teams, you have half the teams are probably, and I know I'm probably going to get some backlash to this for the statement, but half of the teams don't really have a grasp on what they're supposed to be doing. The other half, we do it for the science, we do it not for the entertainment, stuff like that. You can basically split it down the middle. And I've seen a lot of groups that have no clue what they're doing when it comes to certain things. They have no clue when it comes to doing a proper EVP session or anything like that. And I apologize for the dogs in the background. I can't help that because they think that just because they hear a knock, it's something else.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. And to keep going off of chat here, nobody knows what they're doing. Here's my biggest pet peeve. Well, there's a lot of pet peeves with this field, but my biggest thing is when people control your dogs. Lisa says, my biggest thing is when people stop following you just because they don't believe in what you're doing. I've had this guy named Dave Spinks, and for some reason that he's well known in this field, but he really chaps my ass because I don't think he's all that great like he says he is, or how everybody thinks that he is. Just because he stopped following me, which is fine. I get a lot of people that stop following me, but just because I use a Ouija board, he stops following me. To me, I think that he's closed-minded and he's a complete fool in this field, and I don't care if he's had 30 years experience or not. I think for anybody to stop following somebody because of their theories or the way they investigate,
agreed.
You're
and actually, truthfully, Stephen, I think your investigating is actually extremely fascinating. Using the Ouija board to a certain degree and going that extra mile to do something, I like that. I will never
and you should
do
come
an
with me on
investigation with a Ouija board because I don't like using Ouija boards. I just, there's too much bad ideas about it. I mean, I will witness one. I do plan on witnessing a Ouija board session at some point in my life and in my paranormal career. And yes, I do refer it as a job and a career because I like helping people. I like people that are having issues with their either businesses or whatever, because I love the field. I love the people that I meet. I like meeting new people like you, Stephen, everybody else that's in the chat. Go ahead and add me up on Facebook. I don't care if you're not already friends with me. I just love it because there's people that I think deserve to be in this field, but then there's people that I believe that basically don't deserve to be in this field.
Yeah, there's a lot of these investigators. There's Carissa Flex, one of them too. She's a piece of work too, man. Doing this portal house or what? I'm not on my show, so I can say whatever I want now. I actually would get sued if I talked about this on my show because of the controversy that was there. They threatened to sue me. So, but anyways, Carissa Fleck, the biggest joke there is. She's up here at this demon house up in Pennsylvania. Never gives evidence. She writes all these fabricated books. That's all she does, and everybody's like, she's the greatest. All she does is post tit pics all day long on social media with everything, and she complains about everybody, and there's nothing credible about her whatsoever. I have so much proof as well on her, like everything about her is a joke. I have so many messages that people have sent me saying they went to that house, and the Phil, the owner, he doesn't want to do anything about it because he wants to make profit off of it and money off of it. And they straight up said Carissa is just a joke. And like people like that just want to talk and talk about what they've seen, what they've got. The people that just want to sit there and make Facebook updates. oh my God, guys, just guess what happened? I just woke up and got scratched. I just saw this and this. I'm going to add it to my book. You have to watch me. Where's the proof? I've called her out so many times. Where's the proof? What's she do? She throws a little temper tantrum in a fit and goes around and talks so much crazy shit about me like I'm some psycho. When everything that I talk about, I'll go show you on YouTube I have it, or on all my cameras right now that I have it. You know, there's no reason to not. She's somebody. If I was a female, I'd punch her in the face. I'd fly up to Pennsylvania and punch her right in the face. She's just a joke. I think she became a fan of me because she just started following me on Twitter again. And I actually made a tweet about her, but I didn't want to bring that drama and controversy back up into it. But yeah, she's somebody, man. Jesus, dude, the stories I have with her little, what is it, an agent or whatever, contacted me, and I went off on her too for trying to contact me to get her to sign up with her agent. I don't associate. I don't like Dave Spinks. I don't like Chris. I don't like so many other people out there. And people that are associated with these people, I won't investigate with. And the funny thing is, people will say that they can blacklist me in this field with a bunch of nonsense. But the thing is, you can't blacklist something that you'll never be. I'm creating a brand that nobody else is ever going to be able to create.
People.
And there's
we are creating our own types of investigating. We are all different. We all have our different ideas, and that's what makes us awesome. And because of our fame, our quote unquote fame.
But let
me emphasize that our quote unquote fame that we're getting known within the field, we get attacked. And that happens with a lot of people.
I completely agree. And then they throw a power. And you know what's funny about it is, anybody in their right mind on social media can try to attack me, but they know they won't, because they won't do it, because every time they just don't. I think they respect me enough to not. And the fact that I don't ever bash anybody, really. I really don't. I sit there and I expect people's opinions, and I want their theories. I want open minds. And I think whenever people start not agreeing with you, they throw a temper tantrum, kind of like whoever just left the group in here did, GPSC or whatever his name was, who just left because people didn't agree with them, man. And now, you know what? Now nobody's ever going to agree with them, because if that was me sitting there, I wouldn't have kept defending myself, but I would have been like, dude, that's what I believe, and I would have stood by it. Stand by what you believe in, and other people are going to believe in you. That's just simple. That's logic 101 right there, man.
Exactly.
You can't learn that. That's free advice right there. And it just blows me away. And people that they just, God, yeah. Anyway,
so
all right, next topic.
Here's what we're going to do. We are going to open up the third seat. If there's anybody that is in chat currently that would like to ask a question to either me or Stephen, please feel free to jump in. After we do this, Stephen is going to be doing a live SB7 Spirit Box session. So after we get the questions from people, if you guys want to jump into the third seat,
leaving personal opinions out of,
and
I think leaving personal opinions out of a field that is based on theories. I mean, your theories are personal.
That's true.
That's really all it comes down to, and that's it. So I mean, I don't think anybody should ever leave their personal opinions out of this field. And everything about this field's opinionated. It's just, are you willing to stick by your opinions? Are you willing to not stick by your opinions? Are you willing to, and the only people that I always bash are because they're a joke, and numerous other people can vouch for that as well. The difference is I'll say it because I don't think, so many people are like, oh my God, you just said this about so-and-so, you did this about so, but nobody in this field is better than anybody. Just people have better connections. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. That's it. And let's do a Spirit Box session.
So,
dudes, people want to talk about.
If anybody wants to jump in right now before we start the SB7 Spirit Box session, please feel free. If you guys would want to bounce something off of us or anything like that, this is the time that the audience that is watching currently can ask questions or comment about something. So please, if you want to, jump down into that third seat that's down there and let's hit it up.
yeah, just hit it up. And anything, you know, we don't have to talk. We can talk about simple-minded things. We can talk about deeper things. You know, I mean, literally, I just like the theory that I pulled out earlier about us. Our bodies are what's possessed because of our souls in it. Anything, whatever you feel is necessary to talk about, any type of theory you want. You can't offend me at all because you just can't, because I think everything's opinionated anyway. So whatever you want to talk about, if anybody wants to click the little box, come talk about it.
We're gonna try and get some people in here. How about FemForce or anybody in here? Do you guys want to bounce a question off for either one of us, or start a discussion, or, you know, this is the time to jump in?
You know, I think I honestly forgot what I was going to say. I really did. You know, I do want to say something about a lot of the people. I really think branding yourself in this field is a very important thing, though. I do want to state that. I do think just branding yourself properly is a really good thing. And being unique, man. I think you'll stand out a lot more if you are. I know I probably repeated this already numerous times, but I think it's a big deal. I think because a lot of the shows that are out there now, they're all the same, just different faces. Every video on YouTube is all the same, just different faces. I think a real change is needed to be done, and I'm not talking about for fame or popularity or likes or views or whatever. But you know what? The more popularity you have in this field, the more people are going to listen to you. And I think, so in a way, I do think it is kind of a big deal to be in a popular kind of aspect, because if you want your theories expressed and you want that knowledge to be soaked in by others, I think it really matters on how you brand yourself.
It's like basically being a teacher in high school. You got to have the respect of the students, and you got to have the respect and the love of most of them. But you're going to have a few in that class that's going to hate you, that's going to want to, you know, chew you out and stuff like that. That's basically what it is. It's basically being like in high school, because everybody wants to sit here and, you know, jump down so-and-so's throat because he threw out an opinion. They're all able to feel free to give our own opinions. I mean, I'll be the first person to say that I'm not going to be offended if anybody gets offended by any of my opinions. I'm just going to be like, okay, so what? Your point is that you're offended.
Yeah, it's going about. And you know what's crazy? As long as you're capturing footage, who really cares how you do it? Who cares if you summon Satan himself? Did you capture footage? Good. This isn't a sport, but it's a spectator's game. You have to show proof in order for people to believe you. You have to show proof for validation. It's a spectator sport. You know, take off the sport, but I'm saying that because, you know, that's the slogan, spectator sport. People know what that means. So, but that's what this is. It's a spectator's field. And if, you know, if you get fame for it, you get fame for it. But I don't think anybody should really be out looking for it. I think that's when you sell out. But I do think you have to deliver footage. And if you don't deliver footage, what are you doing in this field? You know, you're doing it for your own purpose. Okay, that's cool. But if you're doing it for your own purpose, then why are you giving your opinion? You know, you have to deliver footage. Otherwise, you're not even proving it to yourself. You know, oh, wow, I saw this. Okay. Did you really see it or did you not see it? Go back and look at the footage to see if you really saw it.
Totally agree. And the footage, the recordings, the whatever evidence you can provide to people to have them understand.
I forgot we were live for a second. So yeah.
All right. So I guess nobody wants to jump in and start a discussion or ask a question. So let's go ahead and jump right into doing the SB7 Spirit Box session.
Okay. Yeah. So let me let everybody know what we're going to do real quick. I hope everyone can hear. We're actually going to shut all the lights off on our end. We don't have a video camera. I just like all the lights off. It's a creepier effect and it's cooler. And maybe the spirits are shy. We really don't know. But anyways, for everyone to see, this is it. Regular SB7. This is just a speaker that's plugged into it because it's very hard to hear over this. So we just plug that in. Actually going to turn it on now. Turn it
I think
on.
I'm going to do the same.
Shut the lights off.
I think trying to do something where we're doing it both ends would be cool.
What are you doing on both ends? Turning your light off? Okay, so what I'm going to do now, you could hear it is going to be very loud. I'm going to put this up to the, you can't see me, right? Oh, hi. What I'm going to do is put it up to the camera
Yes.
so you can try to hear it. And can you hear me okay? Okay, and then we'll just ask questions, boom, and if somebody thinks they heard something in chat, awesome, say it. And if you have a question in chat, ask it, I'll say it, and we'll see if it gets a response. And you know what else this will do? If we get a response, it will show that spirits can actually probably transmit through computers and through everybody here. You know what? If it says somebody, two people's name in chat, then something's here seeing us right now with us. So anyways, we don't know. We may pick up nothing, but we're just going to try it out. So I'm going to turn it on real quick, and then I'm just going to ask simple questions. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to turn it on right now. I am going to scan it. I'm going to scan it at 150 milliseconds in reverse, which is which is 0.150 seconds, below a second. So it's scanning way too fast to pick up any noises, and it's going to be in reverse. So I'm turning that on. It's going to be loud.
Yes.
Can you hear that? I'm going to let it scan for about 20 seconds so it goes all the way around so you can hear that no voices are coming through. Minus that. All right, so all you can hear is the white noise, clearly. If there's anybody here that can see us right now, can you say yes or can you say my name just to validate that you could see one of us?
What just happened? Where did he go? This is interesting. This is new. Okay, so I heard something come through the SB7, and then he disappeared. I could have sworn I thought I heard something come through the SB7 there for a second. Am I the only one that thought? Am I the only one that thought that? Okay, I'm looking in chat for future recording as of YouTube. Something just weird happened. This is I've never had this happen, guys, to everyone that is watching currently. Let me see, because he just sent me two notifications. One second. That's weird. So apparently everything just shut down on his end. I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know where to go from here because usually I would like tell the guest bye. But I guess I'm gonna stop recording because oh wait, never mind. He's coming back.
Hey, I don't know what happened. The whole internet just shut off and came down. We had to restart the internet.
That's really weird. Okay, so I was actually just gonna end the recording because I was sort of like, where do I go from here? What are we doing? So
Yeah, I know. The whole thing stopped, and Darby just said that's never happened before. So we were trying to get it back, and it said limited access. We had to restart everything.
no, that's never happened before. Even with my 2 other episodes, I've never had this happen. Apparently something that was there with you guys or is with you doesn't want to communicate live.
I mean, we could try it. We could try it again one more time if you want.
Well, let's try it again. I think it might have just been coincidence. Let's just say it was coincidence.
Okay, we'll try it again one more
Let's
time.
say it was coincidence. Let's give it another whirl.
If it happens again, just be patient, and we'll come back on again.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to turn it back on again. We're going to leave the lights on.
Yes.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Yes.
Can you say your name or how old you are? Did you shut the internet off? Do you know whose house we're in right now? Or what the radio show is called that we're on right now? All right. I don't want to keep holding this up all night, so I'm going to count down from 10. Can you repeat any of those numbers with me? I'll start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm going to shut this off now.
Whoa.
What was that? That was a long sentence. Did you hear that?
Yeah, what the hell was
Do
that?
it right now. I want to say it said do it right now.
Like it's taunting you.
That was long too. That shouldn't have been a sentence.
It sounded like a sentence.
Can you say something again? What exactly did you say? Can you say a word similar to what you just said?
Did it just say something?
I don't know. Yeah, it did, but I don't know. All right, can you just be a little bit more clear for everybody? I'm only going to keep it on literally for probably 10 more seconds for real this time.
If you don't want him to turn it off, say something.
What does everyone else think it said?
I heard something right after I said that.
That's kind of what I heard. Finish. Do you want me to be finished with this? What did you hear, Trent? All right, I'm going to count to 5, and then I'm really shutting it off. 1. 2. Did that sound like 2? Did anyone else hear 2?
Yeah. It sounded like 2.
As I said 1, and then it said 2.
But I also heard what they're saying. It said, I could have heard what it said. God bless you.
God bless you. That too. Oh, it could. Yeah, we have the recorder over here too that we're going to listen back to after this. Not live. We don't have to. All right, I'm on 3, 4, 5. Can you say goodnight?
I heard no 2 come out.
You can't say goodnight, but you could say no. Do you not want to say goodnight? All right, well, I'm going to say goodnight. It'd be awesome if you said it back just one time. I was talking. Everybody in chat right now is saying goodnight. Can you say goodnight to them? All right, just say goodnight one time. 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to shut this off. Did that just say?
Did it just say devil?
What did everybody in chat hear? Yeah, devil.
Yeah. And then did somebody just hear yes after I asked? Did it say devil?
You know what's crazy? That we were actually just hearing, Darby and I, we were actually hearing kids laughing inside here. Right,
inside the house?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, just say one more thing, and then this, whatever you happen to say, I'm just going to shut it off. Can you say somebody's name that you could see right now, even in chat or on this video? All right, guys, I'm just going to shut this off.
Well, that was definitely interesting. Definitely heard some things come through.
And what's crazy is what we heard all come through, everybody was hearing the same thing.
That's what's consistent. That was for YouTube reference, because it doesn't record the chat. Everybody, when we heard something, we heard basically the same thing or something similar, very similar to that word or sentence. So just for YouTube reference, for when you're watching this, you understand what we just witnessed. It was basically a live session. Nothing was faked. And yeah, I mean, this is as real as it can get right here, rather than being at an actual location. So.
And what's crazy is everybody heard when we first started. She thinks it said Trent right before I turned it off. So we did have a digital voice recorder right here, rolling with it. So we're definitely going to listen to that after we get off there. And if anything was said like that, we're going to hear it a lot better on there. And usually what I'll do, I'll record with my phone, listening to that, and then I'll upload it on Facebook so we can all hear exactly what we kind of just heard. But yeah, what's crazy about it is right when we first started, the whole internet went down, and then you heard nothing was coming through on the spear box at all. Then we come back on, and then you start hearing all this stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
So something at first was skittish about talking, but then sort of said, okay, exactly. Maybe I will talk a little bit. I mean, that was definitely, without a doubt, that was really almost mind-blowing there for a minute, because truthfully, I wasn't even expecting a thing. I think your internet just went down again. Maybe not.
Yeah, and Trent, you know how isolated it is out here too, being in this area. It's not like we're in the middle of Gainesville, where it's a huge city. We're in the middle of the woods. You know, there's nothing. It's empty out here. There's nothing out here. You know, you get like two stations, and that's it.
Well, I know that that it's 12:30 your time, right? So I think we're gonna go ahead and call this a show. And
oh my God, it's 5:30.
You know, it's been great. It really has. Definitely one of my most interesting interviews, because I mean, number one, you gave off really good theories and ideas. And that's what I like talking. That's why I like doing these shows, is because I like learning about other people's theories, sort of picking up on other people's energies and stuff like that. You're a very interesting person upon yourself, because of the whole Ouija board investigating. You know, I think it's something that I would never do, but you know, it's something that I find interesting. And this has definitely been a very great show. I mean, my shows seem to keep getting more interesting and better as time progresses. You know, like I had one person comment on last weekend or last month's show, and said that talking about the aliens and everything was basically mind-blowing and really opened that person's eyes and stuff. And I mean, bouncing ideas off one another, bouncing respect between one another, you know, and it comes down to respect between each other too. When it comes to a show, you can do a decent show, but it'd still be crappy because there's no respect between the two people, you know. So I mean, I've seen several shows that I thought honestly were crap to a certain extent, because they just didn't seem like there was enough respect between the people. And I do appreciate everybody that has watched, that is watching live, and that will watch via YouTube. The video should be up.
So this is going to be on YouTube.
Yeah, the video should be up tomorrow at least. But everyone, I want to wish everyone a very happy Easter, because technically on the East Coast, it is Easter right now. I still have an hour and a half till Easter, so so I want to wish everybody on the East Coast a happy Easter, and everybody be safe. And remember, do not do things like this if you do not feel comfortable. Stephen, it has been great. It was an honor to have you on my show. I hope to have you on again at some point down the road.
Yeah, we'll wait till like after summer once I get a lot more investigations again under and more things to talk about. And then, can anyone still hear me? Yeah, there we go. And then
totally, we'll figure out a time for me to come on your show. That'll be cool.
Yeah, everything's lagging up on this, and I'm afraid we might lose internet here soon. I don't want to do that, so I agree.
Yeah, so since we're having internet issues on your end once again,
and happy
last time, guys, everyone be safe. Don't do anything you wouldn't regret, and stay spooky, my friends.
Yes, thank you.